Blood of My Blood Season 2 is about to turn everything we know upside down. The first season may have given us heartbreak, passion, and rebellion, but what's coming next is something far darker, far more personal, and far more dangerous for every single character we care about. Forget everything you think you know about Brian, Ellen, and the Rising clans, because in Season 2, loyalties will break, love will be tested to its limits, and blood will no longer mean safety. It will mean war. And this time, no one gets to walk away untouched. When we last saw Brian and Ellen, they had finally found each other against all odds, standing on the edge of a new life as the fires of rebellion burned across the Scottish hills. It was beautiful, it was tragic, and it felt like a promise of peace that could never last. Season 2 picks up right from that chaos, throwing us straight into the heart of the Jacobite uprising of 1715, where the dream of restoring the rightful king becomes a nightmare soaked in betrayal. Brian, now a marked man hunted by both the Grants and the Mackenzies, has no choice but to join the cause. He believes he's fighting for honor, but as the story unfolds, it becomes painfully clear that honor has no place in war. The man we met in Season 1, passionate and loyal, begins to vanish, replaced by someone colder, sharper, and haunted. The weight of Malcolm's death follows him everywhere, twisting him into someone who can't decide if he's a hero or a murderer. And while Ellen stands by his side, even she starts to see the cracks forming in the man she loves. Her quiet strength will be tested like never before, especially when whispers spread that Colum has made a deal with the English to save his clan from destruction. If that's true, it means Brian's own uncle is about to betray everything Scotland is fighting for. The season wastes no time forcing the characters into impossible choices, and it's this emotional tension that will carry every episode. Meanwhile, across time, Julia's story takes a shocking new direction. After being pulled through the stones with baby William, she finds herself alone in a century she barely understands. Henry didn't make it through, and that single fact shatters her. The woman who once seemed so calm and collected now has to navigate a world on fire while holding on to a child who shouldn't even exist in this timeline. Her grief, her confusion, and her desperate need to find a way back drive the emotional heartbeat of the entire season. But here's where it gets really interesting. Rumors suggest that Julia's journey through time will reveal a secret that ties her bloodline directly to Ellen and Brian's. It's not just about love across centuries anymore, it's about destiny being rewritten. And remember how in Season 1 we saw glimpses of the Stuarts and their struggle to reclaim the throne? Well, Season 2 takes that thread and pulls it tight. The rebellion isn't just political, it's personal. Every clan, every soldier, every betrayal connects back to one simple truth. Family will either save you or destroy you. Brian, driven by guilt and vengeance, becomes a soldier who can't stop killing. The showrunner has already teased that his transformation will be one of the darkest arcs in Outlander history. He's fighting not only enemies on the battlefield, but also the ghosts in his mind. Malcolm's dying eyes, Ellen's quiet pleas, and the blood oath he swore under the moonlight. Those fiery crosses that once symbolized unity now mark his descent into something far more tragic. And when Ellen starts to realize the man beside her might never return from this war, her courage takes center stage. She refuses to be just a lover or a wife. She becomes a fighter in her own right. Word is, Ellen's role in the rebellion will be expanded, showing her working secretly to protect innocent families caught in the crossfire, even as she hides the truth about her own pregnancy. Yes, that's right. Ellen is rumored to be expecting Brian's child, and that revelation will change everything. Because if she's captured or exposed, it's not just her life on the line. It's the future of the entire Fraser line. But the real twist comes when we learn that Henry didn't die after being left behind. Instead, he wakes up in 1715 Scotland, broken, disoriented, and hunted. His PTSD collides with the brutal world of the rebellion, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. He doesn't know if what he's seeing is real or a product of his trauma. His journey becomes one of survival and madness, mirroring Brian's descent, but from a completely different perspective. And the most haunting part? The closer Henry gets to finding Brian and Ellen, the more dangerous he becomes. Because while Julia searches for him across time, Henry might be the very thing that destroys everything she's trying to save. Season 2 seems determined to explore how love, grief, and time itself can twist even the strongest souls. What makes this season so thrilling is how it blends history and emotion with a sense of unstoppable doom. Every choice feels like it could set off a chain reaction that changes the future we thought we knew. The rebellion is collapsing, friendships are breaking, and even time travel doesn't feel like a blessing anymore. It feels like a curse. That's what makes Blood of My Blood so different. The creators have promised that Season 2 will be bolder, bloodier, and more emotional, with shocking twists that connect directly to Outlander's original timeline. And if the rumors are true, we'll finally see how Brian's bloodline becomes the foundation of the Fraser family legacy we know so well. But getting there won't be easy. In Season 2, every heartbeat, every decision, and every betrayal will shape not only the future of Scotland, but also the destiny of every Fraser to come. So brace yourself, because Blood of My Blood isn't just returning, it's rewriting history one heartbeat at a time. Season 2 wastes no time tearing apart everything that felt safe in the first one. The rebellion that once seemed glorious quickly turns into chaos, and Brian finds himself deep in the mud and blood of Scotland's most brutal war. The Jacobite army is splintered, supplies are scarce, and trust is even scarcer. Every face he sees could be a friend, or a traitor. It's the kind of world that eats good men alive. And Brian is starting to realize that surviving this war might mean becoming someone he no longer recognizes. The opening episodes will focus on his struggle between loyalty and survival. He wants to fight for the Stuarts, but the moment he learns that the Mackenzies are secretly negotiating with the English, everything changes. Imagine standing on a battlefield, knowing your own kin is feeding your enemies information. Brian's fury becomes unstoppable. He refuses to retreat, and that stubborn fire in him is both his strength and his downfall. Word spreads fast that there's a Fraser leading his men into impossible battles, a warrior who doesn't fear death. But behind that reputation hides a man breaking apart inside. His hands are covered in blood, his heart torn between duty and guilt, and his soul haunted by the thought of Ellen waiting for him in a world that's burning down around them. Back at the Highlands, Ellen faces her own war. She has always been calm, patient, and composed, but in Season 2, she's anything but. Her world is falling apart. With Brian gone, she becomes the heart of a secret resistance movement, helping families hide from the soldiers and passing coded letters through the women of the villages. But the stakes rise when word spreads that she's carrying Brian's child. That single secret turns her into the most wanted woman in the Highlands. If the Grants or Mackenzies discover her condition, their alliance gives Ellen the strength to keep going. But it also brings danger closer than ever. Because Jocasta's husband, Dual, is hiding something that could destroy them all. Meanwhile, Henry's storyline in 1715 grows darker and more twisted with each episode. Lost and half-mad, he's mistaken for a deserter and captured by a group of Jacobites who force him to fight for them. It's brutal, confusing, and relentless. Henry doesn't understand the language, the customs, or even the century he's in. All he knows is pain and loss. But through this suffering, he starts to piece together fragments of his purpose. He finds a pendant engraved with the Fraser crest, and that discovery sets him on a path straight toward Brian and Ellen. The cruel irony is that he doesn't know who they are. To him, they're just names he hears whispered among soldiers. But the audience knows what he doesn't, that Henry is about to meet his own ancestors. And when that happens, the line between past and future will blur in ways that change everything. Season 2 plays with time like never before, showing that history isn't a straight line. It's a circle, one that keeps pulling people back into the same tragedies, no matter how far they run. Julia, trapped in the modern world without Henry, is a woman on the edge. Her search for answers leads her to Claire Fraser, and their meeting is as emotional as it is mysterious. Claire immediately senses something strange about Julia's story, especially when she sees baby William and feels a strange pull toward him. The two women join forces, driven by love and desperation. Together, they begin researching ways to reopen the stones and find Henry. But every clue they uncover comes with a warning. Time doesn't like to be changed. The more they push, the more dangerous things become. Strange visions start haunting Julia. Faces she's never seen, places she's never been. It's as if time itself is trying to send her a message. And when she begins to dream of Brian and Ellen, she realizes that her journey is far from over. This season will dive deep into the mystical side of time travel, revealing new layers of the lore we thought we understood. The stones, the voices, the visions, They're all connected to something much older and darker than anyone could imagine. The emotional tension in this season is unmatched. Every episode feels like it's walking on a knife's edge. Brian's rage, Ellen's courage, Henry's torment, and Julia's longing. All of it builds into a storm that's impossible to look away from. There's no easy happiness here, only fleeting moments of love in a world tearing itself apart. The show's creators have said that Season 2 will explore the cost of destiny, the idea that some people are born to suffer so others can live, and that theme bleeds through every scene. When Brian finally learns that Ellen is pregnant, it doesn't bring him peace, it brings him fear. He realizes that he's not just fighting for freedom anymore, he's fighting for the survival of his bloodline. But how do you protect your family when the entire world is collapsing around you? That's the question that will drive the rest of the season. The fiery crosses, once a symbol of unity, now mark the graves of those who dared to believe. And as the rebellion inches closer to its doomed climax, Brian's fate becomes more uncertain than ever. By the end of Section 2, it's clear that Blood of My Blood Season 2 isn't just continuing the story, it's transforming it. The tone is darker, the emotions sharper, and the stakes higher than they've ever been. Love is no longer the safe haven it once was. It's the reason everyone is fighting, bleeding, and dying. And as history and time collide, one truth becomes painfully clear. The blood that binds them all together may also be the curse that tears them apart. The chaos only deepens as Season 2 moves into its middle episodes. The Jacobite rebellion is on the brink of collapse, and Brian finds himself caught between two collapsing worlds, the battlefield outside and the storm inside his soul. Each new episode pushes him further from the man we met before. The once kind and loyal Fraser is now becoming a shadow of himself, hardened by death and betrayal. His eyes tell the story before his lips can. He has seen too much. The smell of smoke, blood, and burned tartans clings to him like a curse. His fellow soldiers start calling him the ghost of Legac because no matter how hopeless a fight looks, he never stops. It's not courage anymore, it's obsession. When his men are ordered to retreat after another devastating loss, Brian refuses. He rides straight into enemy lines, killing anyone who stands in his way. By the time he returns, his face is spattered with blood and his eyes are empty. At the same time, Ellen's journey becomes even more heartbreaking. Her pregnancy has reached a dangerous point, and she's forced to flee deeper into the highlands with Jocasta and a few loyal allies. Each mile they travel brings new danger. English patrols are sweeping the countryside, burning homes, and capturing anyone suspected of harboring rebels. The sisters move under the cover of night, carrying their few belongings and their secrets. There are moments of quiet beauty between Ellen and Jocasta, where they remember the days before all the pain. But those moments never last long. One evening, they find a hidden camp of women and children, refugees from the rebellion, and Ellen can't walk away. She decides to stay for a while to help them, even though she knows the risk. Her compassion becomes her greatest strength, but also her greatest weakness. One of the refugees, a young boy, recognizes her from Castle Leoche. He doesn't mean harm, but word travels fast, and soon soldiers are closing in. Ellen has no choice but to run again, even as her body weakens. The tension of watching her fight to stay alive while carrying Brian's child is almost unbearable. You can feel her fear and her love in every breath. She's not just fighting for herself anymore, she's fighting for the future. Meanwhile, Henry's arc takes a shocking turn. After weeks of wandering through the chaos of 1715 Scotland, he finally encounters someone who changes everything. Dual. Yes, the same Dual who was forced into marriage at the end of Season 1. Dual doesn't recognize Henry, but Henry knows enough from old documents and family records to realize exactly who he's talking to. The irony is painful. Two men from different centuries connected by blood and tragedy, standing in the middle of a dying rebellion. Dual, bitter and disillusioned, sees the rebellion for what it's become, a graveyard of broken dreams. But when he realizes that Henry might know things about the future, his curiosity becomes dangerous. He starts questioning Henry, trying to understand how he knows so much. Henry, desperate to survive, tells half-truths, pretending to be a lost mercenary. But the more time he spends with Dual, the more he feels something familiar, a bond he can't explain. It's almost as if fate is pushing him toward the Fraser's path. Every step he takes brings him closer to meeting Brian, though he doesn't yet realize that their meeting will come with devastating consequences. In the present day, Julia's storyline grows more intense as she and Claire uncover an old letter hidden in the Fraser family archives. The letter is unsigned but written in Ellen's hand. It talks about a secret child, one who must be protected at all costs, and it ends with a line that chills Julia to her core. Time is not a river. It is a circle, and circles always return to their beginning. That single sentence changes everything. Julia realizes that she and Henry are not just visitors in this story. They are part of it. Their blood, their choices, their pain, it's all tied to the Frasers who came before. She becomes obsessed with finding a way back, no matter the cost. Claire warns her that time exacts a price for every crossing, but Julia doesn't care. She feels the pull of the stones stronger than ever, as if they're calling her name. Her dreams grow vivid and terrifying. She sees flashes of battle, hears Brian's voice, and sometimes even feels Ellen's hand brushing her cheek. The boundary between past and present begins to blur, and Julia starts to realize that if she doesn't act soon, she might lose her mind, or her soul, to the echoes of history. The middle of the season becomes a whirlwind of tension, heartbreak, and revelations. The show doesn't let anyone rest, not even for a moment. Every time you think a character is safe, the story twists again. There's betrayal from within the clans, secret alliances forming between sworn enemies, and the slow realization that the rebellion is doomed. The Battle of Sheriffmuir looms on the horizon, a moment that will decide the fate of Scotland and everyone in it. And through it all, Brian is being pulled toward his destiny, a destiny that will either make him a hero or damn him forever. His choices are heavier than ever, and as his world crumbles, the weight of his blood oath with Ellen starts to feel more like a curse than a promise. By the end of Section 3, the tone shifts from hopeful resistance to grim survival. The rebellion is collapsing, the clans are turning on each other, and the characters we've come to love are being driven to the edge. Brian's soul darkens, Ellen's strength grows even as her body weakens, Henry's mind fractures under the weight of time, and Julia's determination becomes an obsession that could destroy her. It's clear now that Blood of My Blood Season 2 isn't just changing the story, it's changing what the entire Outlander universe means. It's no longer just about love across time, it's about how far love can stretch before it breaks. It's about the choices that echo through generations and the cost of rewriting fate. By the time the rebellion reaches its breaking point, the tone of Blood of My Blood Season 2 turns hauntingly tragic. The hills of Scotland, once filled with proud banners and battle songs, now echo with silence and smoke. The Battle of Sheriffmuir is approaching, and everyone knows it will decide everything. The tension is suffocating, the air thick with fear and unspoken dread. Brian leads a small band of surviving men through the cold mist, his once fiery determination now hardened into something almost mechanical. He doesn't talk much anymore. His eyes tell a story of exhaustion and loss. Every man following him can sense that he's fighting not just for Scotland, but for something far more personal. Ellen, the child he hasn't met, and the promise he made to protect them. But what Brian doesn't know is that the enemy closing in on him is not only English soldiers, it's betrayal from within. Rumors spread that one of his closest allies has sold their location to save his own clan. It's the kind of twist that stings, because you can feel Brian's heartbreak before it even happens. Trust, the one thing that kept him alive this long, is slipping away. When the truth is revealed, Brian's rage explodes. He confronts the traitor in a chilling, rain-soaked scene that ends in blood. It's not just war that's killing him now, it's the loss of faith in his own people. While Brian spirals deeper into the chaos, Ellen's story takes an even more emotional turn. After weeks on the run, she finds refuge in an abandoned chapel deep in the woods. Her health is failing, and her time is running out. The nights are cold, her body weak, but her spirit refuses to break. She writes letters to Brian every evening, sealing them with tears and hiding them in the floorboards, praying that one day he'll find them. Each letter reads like a goodbye and a promise all at once. Jocasta, terrified for her sister, begs her to flee further north, but Ellen refuses. She says that running would mean admitting defeat, and she won't do that. Her defiance is heartbreaking because you can feel the weight of her love and her fear all at once. When her child finally comes, it's during a storm that rattles the mountains. The birth scene, as rumored, is one of the most powerful moments in the series. Raw, painful, and beautiful. Ellen survives, but barely. In her arms lies a son, red-haired and crying, the living proof that love endures even in ruin. But her relief doesn't last long. English riders are spotted nearby, and she knows she has to make an impossible decision: stay and die, or send her newborn away to survive. And that's when the true tragedy of Ellen Fraser begins to unfold. Meanwhile, Henry's path collides violently with destiny. After weeks of wandering, he finally finds Brian's camp, but not as a friend. He's captured, beaten, and accused of spying for the English. Brian doesn't recognize him, and Henry, delirious from hunger and exhaustion, can barely speak. The two men, connected by blood but separated by centuries, face each other without realizing what binds them. The scene is devastating in its irony, Henry begging for mercy from the very ancestor he came to save. But what's even more heartbreaking is that Brian, hardened by betrayal and loss, shows none. He orders Henry to be locked away until dawn, planning to hand him over to the Jacobite leaders. That night, as the fires burn low, Henry stares up at the stars and realizes the truth. He's come full circle in time, and fate has tricked him. His mind begins to unravel completely. When he escapes in the darkness, his memories begin blending with flashes from his own century: bombs, screams, and trenches. He runs through the forest as if chased by ghosts, and maybe he is, because as he collapses near the edge of a battlefield, he hears Ellen's voice whisper his name, though she's miles away. It's as if time itself is breaking apart around them.